Hi everybody, hello, and I hope everyone's doing okay. So what's my opinion about May's deal? I think it's terrible. I think it's not what people voted for. And I think if there's one thing that people did vote to do, it was to leave the customs union. Because when we're in the customs union, we have to abide by the EU rules that if we're not a member, we have no say in making. So we could leave the European Union, they could make a rule that, everybody has to grow pigs a certain way or do certain things, they can make rules and we won't have a say in the rules, but we would have to abide by them. And that is not democracy. So it's not a good deal. I know why they kept us in this customs union. And let's face it, all the people that didn't want to leave wanted us in a new customs union anyway, but there was no mandate for that. People had a very black and white choice. That's the problem. People were told it would be really awful if you leave the customs union. It would be really awful if you leave the European Union. All of the warnings we were given were based on us leaving everything, and people voted to leave anyway. So I don't have that much sympathy with people that say, oh, well, we didn't vote for this. We didn't vote to leave the customs union, because it's rubbish. If we stay in that customs union instead of a new deal, we have to abide by their rules. And if we don't like them, we have to go to the European Court of Justice instead of our own court. So we don't make the rules, and somebody else's court will tell us if we're right or wrong. So it's not a good deal in that respect. Now, the problem is that they said, oh, it's like a stepping stone, because that's the backstop. That's what will happen if it's a worst case. Well, but the problem is that there's a couple of problems with that worst case. The first one is that there's no time limit on it. Okay, so if we go into that backstop deal where we're in the customs union, there's no date for us to leave. And the second problem with the customs union backstop deal is we cannot unilaterally decide to leave. So we can't say after 2 years, okay, thanks, but we're leaving. They have to agree that we can leave as well. And we're paying what? Do you know how much we're paying to leave? 39 billion. 39 billion pounds. That's like $70 billion, and we're getting nothing. We don't even have a deal on the fisheries. And so I don't really like it for that reason. And I don't think it's what anybody wanted. And I truly believe that no deal is better than that, because we can use that money for industries that were previously selling into Europe to help them adapt, because the UK economy can be really adaptable. And there are Commonwealth countries which we used to have great relationships with before we joined the EU. There were farmers in New Zealand that committed suicide because they lost their markets when we joined the EU, and they couldn't sell stuff to us for a very long time. In Australia and the Caribbean, where we used to buy all of our bananas and stuff like that, countries that we'd had relationships for a very long time, we weren't able to trade with anymore when we joined the European Union. And I think that, we kind of owe some of them, really. Anyway, that's just my view. Anyway, in terms of the UK and what happened today, so on top of all of these people resigning, the deal looking dodgy, we had UK retail sales at 9:30 that were expected to be positive 0.2 and were negative 0.5. So retail sales got slammed. Now, there's one thing about the UK economy is that the British people can be relied on to spend money no matter what else is going on. And in this case, they have not. And so this is not very good for the UK. More than anything, I went to the dentist to get my stitches removed, and James has been doing my Twitter this morning. So if you've been following my Twitter, that's what's been going on. So sorry about that. But what was I going to say? So retail sales is really bad news. That's not very good news at all. So the market is hit a little bit for that. So here's an interesting phenomenon. Here's that we've got the pound. We've had a bit of a down day. We're still within our sideways trading range that we've been in since August, really, but we're in another swing lower. So it's not really the end of the world. It's not like what happened with the Brexit. This is what happened, right, with the referendum vote. So this no deal, in perspective, is not that much of a problem, really.